Title: The 13th Hour. The antique pocket watch arrived in a velvet-lined box with no return address. Its brass casing was engraved with a serpent coiled around the number 13. Julian, a freelance appraiser with a taste for the macabre, didn't think twice. He wound it and the hands began to tick. That night the nightmare started. He stood in a fog-choked train station, the air thick with the metallic tang of blood. A clock overhead chimed 12 times, each toll shaking the ground. Shadows pooled on the platform forming words, 1 hour owed. Julian woke drenched in sweat, the watch clutched in his hand. Its face now showed a single blood-red hour hand pointing to 1. The next day his luck turned. A chandelier nearly crushed him at an estate sale. His coffee boiled over, scalding his hand. A stranger on the subway spat, "You reek of borrowed time," before vanishing into the crowd. That night the nightmare station returned. The clock chimed twice. The shadows writhed, 2 hours owed. The watch's red hand crept to 2. Julian researched the watch's origins. Folklore whispered of a 19th-century clockmaker who'd bargained with something older than death. His masterpiece, a timepiece that collected misfortune, was said to leech luck hour by hour, until the bearer paid their debt on the 13th strike. Victims were found with their wrists slit by clock hands, faces frozen in terror. By the 5th day Julian's apartment felt alien. Walls warped. Mirrors reflected a gaunt, gray version of himself mouthing, "Run." The watch's crimson needle quivered at 5, its ticks now screams. He tried destroying it, fire melted his stove, hammers bent like rubber, and every attempt deepened the curse. On the 12th night, the nightmare station's clock chimed 12 times. The shadows roared, 12 hours owed. 1 remains. Julian woke to find his skin paper-thin, veins blackened like burnt clockwork. The watch's face pulsed, the number 13 glowing as the final hour hand materialized. He fled to the train station from his dreams, now real and rotting. The platform was littered with skeletal hands clutching identical watches. The clock chimed once. 13. The shadows engulfed him, whispering, "Payment due." When the police found Julian's body, the coroner noted the cause of death, a single, precise puncture through his heart. The wound's edges were serrated, like the teeth of a gear. The watch was gone, but in his clenched fist, they found a train ticket stamped with a destination. 13th Hour Terminal. The case was closed. 3 days later, a velvet-lined box arrived on the coroner's desk. Too grim? Want a different twist? Let me know.